Alright, moving on with the slides. Here are all the parts that make up the cross and top slide. These are all galvanized. Most of them turned out pretty nice. Some of them had quite severe pitting. Those are not as nice as I would have liked them. I did try and galvanize the slides, but they are made of cast iron, which is very hard to galvanize. Cast steel usually works fine. Cast iron, well, because of the high carbon content, doesn't want to be galvanized. Unfortunately, the guys from the electroplating factory, when they noticed that they didn't turn out pretty nice, they decided to spray paint them. So I spent at least an hour cleaning these up again. There's also a bag with all kind of nuts and bolts that still needs to be cleaned. Even though the galvanization of the slides was a total failure, the acid dip did take care of all the rust. So when I got them back, you could really see where the wear pattern is on these slides. I noticed that some fly has been cluster shitting on the top slide. Here's the lower part of the cross slide. It has the most wear. There's a pretty distinct ridge down there where it's riding on the top of the way. There's quite a bit of pitting on the flat side. I did stone this. There were a few high spots. Here are all the small parts that belong to the cross and top slide. I just soaked them in some diesel. I sure hope that I can remember where they all belong. I put a bit of grease on the shaft because it was pretty rusty. There's also one ball race still on there. I couldn't get it off, but so it got a nice coat of zinc, but I don't think that's a problem. Alright, I've already greased up these bearings. One. So that's then that's another ball race. They are pretty tight on there, and I even come on, even after grinding a bit off, they hardly fit. And the last one. Okie dokie. There's a small set screw on here that protrudes tolerances are pretty tight on this part. I did sand off the zinc because it just wasn't fitting anymore. Okay, so you put it in halfway, and then there's this little piece that acts as a kind of a spring load on the dial, and it sits in here in a groove. I don't know if you can see that. Here's a better look at it. You can see the little flat spring sitting in a groove, and it pushes against the dial, giving it just enough drag. So that's back together, and now you need to lock it down with these round screws. It's pretty annoying, but I don't have any replacements. So I use a drill bit to lock them down. It's not great because this is copper and it's pretty soft, so some of these holes are already worn out. Well, that should do it. Next is the ball handle, but that's a press fit, so I probably need to polish this up and remove the zinc layer. A few whacks with the nylon hammer and it's back together. I also assembled the other one. I fixed the slide to the bed. I'm wondering if I should remove this paint. No, I'm gonna leave it like this for now. That goes like that. Alright, I'm gonna throw on some oil and fasten things up. I had this part mounted the wrong way, so I had to take it apart again. There's quite a bit of play in here. I guess I'll have to live with it. The sound you're hearing comes from the dial indicator rubbing against the the other part. Alright, the thread protector is on there, and now I should install the top slide, but before I'll do that I am going to work a bit on this gib. It has quite a lot of grooves and a very big ridge. I don't know if you can see that on camera. I'm gonna grind that off and then try and flatten it with a stone. I spent almost an hour grinding and rubbing this thing on a stone, and it's not perfect, but it's good enough for me. With my limited tools and knowledge, I'm not gonna get it any better, so this will have to do. The ridge, by the way, is caused by the top of the dovetail. It's right. It sits right there, and the dovetail was digging in on the gib, causing that ridge. By the way, what's the best way to keep a stone flat? I really should Google that. I'm gonna drill and tap 2 holes into this cross slide that can be used to lock it up. The same I'm gonna do for the top slide. Here's my drill setup. The table on this cheap bench drill always flexes, so I'm using an old car jack to make sure that the table stays horizontal. So that's the locking screws taken care of. This one is a bit off center because of a notch on the inside that keeps the gib in place. I gotta find some nicer screws, or maybe cut these to length. I don't know yet. This nut, brass, whatever thing, you need to screw it down from the underside. Ah, there it is. I've been looking for some Allen heads, but didn't have the correct length, so the old ones go back in. These here are the gib screws. They look homemade flat screws. They are too short to add a locking nut, so I found these M8 Allen heads without a without a head. They're a bit long, but at least I can add a locking nut. Unfortunately, I don't have enough of these, so I gotta find some more, but this is what I'm gonna use. Threads are a bit loose. That's the cross slide done onto the top slide. A bit of rust prevention. There was no washer underneath here, and I drilled and tapped a hole in this probably to lock this nut down. The protractor scale is a bit hard to read, but I doubt that it will see much use. Sorry. let me bolt this down. These screws are a bit fiddly because you need to pack them up in there in the hole, and then you need to, well, kind of wiggle them into place. And yes, I did switch that thing around. I had to switch out the thread protector with the lower slide. It's the same length, the same size, dimension or whatever, but it just isn't fitting. It shows you that standardization wasn't as good in the old days as it is today. Here's the gib of the top slide. Look at how rough that outside surface is. I guess it doesn't matter. Now I gotta get those screws in from below. As you can see, I'm short one gib screw, so I got to find one of those. Hopefully the store has them. So now I only need to top it off with a tool post. That's it. Done. Well, doesn't look too bad. I'll leave you with a before and after shot.